Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys for being such an amazing community so far and for all of your support. You guys have been amazing and it's been so much fun to create content for the One Piece TCG. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of July. If we hit that goal, I'll be doing an awesome giveaway with custom One Piece cards that you won't want to miss. And so let's make it happen together, and thanks again for being awesome. Hey everyone, Adakai TCG here, and I'm coming at you guys with a deck profile video. Today we're going to be going over a leader that's not a top meta leader. I do think this deck is a lot of fun though, and yeah, it lacks a little bit of consistency, but when the deck does what it wants to do, it's a ton of fun to play. I think you'll have a great time with it at locals. I've been testing it on Sim, and yeah, he's a really fun leader, but it is the Golden State Ace, or rather the blue-yellow Ace from Starter 13. And for those who don't know or are not familiar with the leader, I'll go over the ability. So he's a 5k leader, and his ability reads Dawn ×2. You can activate main once per turn. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Add one character with a cost of 5 to the top of your life cards face up. Then place the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. But at the end of your turn, you have to trash all your face up life cards, meaning that they don't get to stay in your life. And so the leader effect may sound confusing, but I promise it'll make sense once you see the full kit. But this is the ability that you're kind of gambling with, and we do have some ways to mitigate the risk that we do when we play this deck, but even with that, it still is a little bit high rolly, and so that's where it does lack its consistency. But anyway, let's go through the list, and then we can talk about how it all kind of comes together. So first, we are running 4 copies of the 1-drop 2k power, 1k counter Garp. He is a searcher that allows you to look at the top 5 cards for a Sabo, Ace, or Luffy with a cost of 5 or less, and you can put the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. This guy will always be searching for the kiddos. He can grab a 5-cost one if you need it, but mainly you want to start with him in your hands if possible and start to grab the kiddo versions of Ace and Luffy from your deck. That's what's going to start getting us the pieces to really let this deck start shining. And don't worry, if we do end up with a handful of just the 5 costs that we'd rather draw from the deck, there are ways that we can kind of mitigate that with some of the cards in this deck. But we'll go over the full package first. We are running 4 copies of the Kiddo Luffy and 4 copies of the Kiddo Ace. These guys are from the Starter 13 deck, and what they do is activate main. You can trash this character, reveal 1 card from the top of your life, and if that card is a bigger version of the Ace or the Luffy, they can respectively play those cards out for free from your life, and then your leader gets 2,000 power for the turn to the end of your opponent's turn. So it's great because you are kind of like the Black Yellow Luffy, increasing Ace's base power for until the end of your opponent's turn, meaning it's harder for them to swing into you, and you're setting up the top of your life for these little guys using Ace's ability. And so we'll first go over the Luffys that we're using. We are using 4 copies of the new OP07 5-drop Egghead Luffy. It's a 5-drop 6k power with a 1k counter, so it's never dead in hands. And activate main, you can trash this character, and if you have 2 or less life, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less, and then draw a card. Really great card. It replaces itself too because you are drawing a card, and you're removing something from your opponent's board. When you play it out with the Baby Luffy, you are giving your Ace higher power as well. And it also has a great trigger. You can KO one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 4 or less. It's a great way to target the mid to low range characters and just start to build up advantage that way. Next, we are running 4 copies of the 5-drop starter deck Luffy, sorry. It's the 5-cost 6k power. This is the one that has 1k counter as well, and activate main once per turn. This character gains 2000 power until the start of your next turn. If you have 1 or more life cards, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from the top of your life cards. So it does trash a life, but again, with Ace's ability, you can pump this guy up to 8k without really paying a life, because you're just putting a card from your deck that's a 5 cost on top of it. Use his ability. You get to just, you know, take that life that you're going to lose at the end of your turn anyway. Just draw an additional card. So this deck has a lot of draw power, which is one of its main strengths, and it has a pretty good kit that allows you to kind of utility slash play out one of the big brothers in the situations that you need it. And so again, really fantastic card, great synergy with the Ace ability, and so we are running 4 of those. Next, we're running the new OP07 5-drop Ace. He's a 5-cost 6k power. He does have a 1k counter, and he's a blocker. And on play, you can draw 2 cards and then place 2 cards from your hand to the top or bottom of your deck in any order. And so this is one of the first cards that'll allow us to fix the top of our deck. If we do have the big brothers in hand and we want to use Ace's ability, he will allow us to kind of fix the top of our deck to utilize that ability. Lastly, we have 4 copies of the 5-drop Rush Ace from the starter deck. This is just a great, fantastic value rush card. It's a 5-cost 7k power. It does have no counter, so it can be dead in hand, but on play, if you have 2 or less life cards, this character gains Rush, which as a 4-life leader, you most likely will have Rush when you need it. And again, very powerful card. If played with the baby Luffy, you're swinging 7 and 7 for a cost of 2, and that is, basically cost of 2. And so, really, really good card. And that's the brother package. Next, we'll go on to some of the additional cards we have in the deck. We are running 2 copies of the Viola. This is from, I believe, EB01, and it's a 2-cost 0k power Viola with a 1k counter on it. It's a blocker, so that's great. As a 4-life leader, we love to have a little bit of blockers, but the additional ability is what's great about this card. It's on play. You can look at all of your opponent's life cards and place them back in their life in any order, but the secondary ability, or the second option, is actually better, where you can turn all of your life cards face down. And so you can utilize Ace's ability, play out the Viola to get a blocker out, and now you just essentially heal the life as well. And so, great way to utilize that. We are running 2 copies of the Charlotte Pudding. This in a meta where many decks are having a really large hand size. This Pudding gets extra value because she is, removing all that advantage your opponent's having with their big hand, just by forcing them to shuffle back into their deck and then playing out our strong 5 cards. And so, really good card for playing blue. In this current iteration, you almost always want to run at least 2 puddings. So that's that. We are running 2 copies of the new 6-drop Boa. So she is a 6-cost 8k power, and on play, up to one of your opponent's characters, other than Monkey D. Luffy, cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then place 1 character with a cost of 1 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. And so we're utilizing this as kind of a mini boss monster. It's the highest boss monster that we are playing, but again, it allows us to kind of control the board a little bit by preventing one of their characters from attacking us. And so we are running that at 2 copies. Next, we'll go over the 2Ks. I know I usually go over these first, but I kind of wanted to explain the Brothers package first. And so anyway, we are running 4 copies of Charlotte Flampe. Just another great card because we are now able to utilize Ace's ability, grab the card from the top of our life that we placed face up, and draw an additional card. And so We are using the 2K, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, we are still gaining a card. And so, again, this card has a lot of draw power. Your hand should always be relatively quite large. And so, and it has quite a bit of sustain. And so, really cool and really fun kit so far. We are running 4 copies of the Hiyori. This is a 2 cost, 0k power. It is a 2k, and you may add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life to your hand, then add up to 1 card from your hand to the top of your life cards. And so this is another great way to utilize Ace's ability. We put a card at the top of the deck, or top of our life. It's face up at the end of a turn, and normally it would just go right to the bottom of our deck, but utilizing Hiyori, we're able to now grab that card, add it to our hand, and to place another card face down so that it doesn't suffer from that same penalty. We are also running 4 copies of the 5-drop Satori. This is just another hit that we can have from Ace, and so really good way to synergize with someone like the Viola or the Flampe, and just another target to put on the top of our deck. So if you notice, we do have quite a lot of 5 costs here, and this whole middle area is 5 costs. And so Ace's ability, almost certainly, the whole concept of this deck is at least to maximize and not miss, at least when we do use Ace's ability, so that we can leverage either this side of the cards or the little brothers to maximize the ability. We have 4 cards remaining, 2 of them of which are Sanji's Pilaf. Just a great trigger, great card, allows us to draw 2 cards. Again, this deck utilizes draw power as its advantage, and so we are running that. And lastly, 2 copies of Gum Gum Red Rock to get rid of the big boys, because if you notice, we aren't running that much of a high end, and so most of our deck is a mid-range deck. We need some way to mitigate the larger cost characters. 2 Red Rocks seems to do the deal, especially with how much we are drawing in this deck. And so this is the deck. You know, you can argue to run that, name is escaping me now, Gravity something, the one that removes the 2/6 costs. I found that the Luffy seems to be enough, the Egg Drop Luffy, and then Red Rock to hit the top ends. But you could run more removal and maybe replace them with the Sanji's Pilaf, but this is the deck iteration that I've been playing around with. It's been a ton of fun, but also quite hard to pilot. And so, yeah, if you guys want to test it out, try it out, and make some changes, I'd love to hear your feedback on this, because I do think this is actually one of the most fun and unique playstyle leaders, and yeah, I just love to have more people trying to cook with this deck. And so, yeah, just wanted to give you this short video going over this deck. Maybe we'll do some sim gameplay in the future, but wanted to put this out there for those looking for at least a foundation or a start to the Golden State Ace. And so, and this is also a custom card that I did. It's on my website, in the shop. You can find the link in the description below, but it's part of a basketball series that I'm releasing for the One Piece cards. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. Catch you guys next time.